You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. Such a classic phrase used in all sorts of contexts, from historical analysis to pop culture myth-making. It only stands to reason that something like that would happen to the holiest of holy warriors, right? At what point does a divine being give up on being good? What if it's not a decision it makes, but is simply a result of the times in which it exists? The context in which it's seen. Makes you think, now doesn't it? With that in mind, it's time to kick off our latest list. The top 5 angels who turned into demons, part 2. Coming in at number 5, we've got Flauros. You know an angel turned demon is wicked when it shows up in essentially every RPG going, video game or not. Flauros is just such a demon, making appearances in the likes of Shin Megami Tensei, Pathfinder, hell, there's even a cool Gundam named after him. At that point, you just have to accept that it is a super wicked, super powerful demon with lots to bring to the table. He goes by many names, however, so if you run into someone named Flauros, Hauris, Horus, or Havris, you should also be on guard. His power is matched by few, and as such, Flauros is a great Duke of Hell. It always amazes me how much hierarchy and organization goes on down in the underworld. Good for them, the underclass, organizing to rise up against their oppressors. As a great duke, Flauros presides over some 36 legions of demons, all powerful in their own right. If a battle between heaven and hell were to break out once again, you can bet that they'd make one hell of an impact. Sorry about that. If one wishes to summon Flauros, they'd better be ready. He can be quite the useful companion, as he speaks truth about all things past, present, and future. So by asking him questions, you too can have knowledge of the seemingly unknowable. Imagine the possibilities. However, and we've seen stuff like this before, to ensure the truthfulness of his answers, the asker must first compel Flauros to stand in a magic triangle. Fail to do this, and he will do all he can to trick and bamboozle, and nobody wants to be bamboozled by a demon. So find that 3-sided emblem and ask away. Figure out where your dad went when he left to buy milk. Find out if your grade school crush ever liked you back. See if you can puzzle out the key to godhood. One of those might be a little heavier than the others, but you get the idea. In addition to being all-knowing, Flauros is extremely powerful. He has the ability to literally burn all of his conjurer's enemies in a shower of hellfire. So if you're not very well liked or too powerful for your own good, this is a good demon to conjure. Apparently this burning applies to other demons who may be against mortals, which can come in handy for sure. I doubt this makes him very popular among his demon compatriots, but hey, he can also be used to help the conjurer resist all temptations. Knowledge, enemy deletion, and temptation resist, all in the form of a terrible leopard man. You have to wonder if the heavens regret letting Flauros go. Coming in at number 4, we've got Valac. You probably recognize his name too. Although the depiction of this demon in The Conjuring is far from the traditional one, but movies will do what they do. The book is always better, right? Upon first glance, one might make the mistake of assuming that Valac is a cute little cherubic boy, angel wings and all. However, take a closer look at the whole picture and you'll see what's really going on here. This cute, innocent, angelic child is actually a demon riding upon the back of a 2-headed dragon. First of all, that's so sick. Secondly, what a ballsy move, retaining the angelic form while at the same time mounting a twin-domed fire-breathing terror. So less nun-like and more Bayonetta angel-like. It's cool either way, but which creature is more wicked in the end? Valac is a president of hell with leadership over 30 legions of demons. So while he might not be quite as powerful as our boy Flauros, he definitely pulls his weight. He's also attributed with the power to find hidden treasure, so if gold and silver and precious stones are your thing, maybe consider finding this dragon rider. I'm sure pirates would have loved this guy, although anybody in a boat for months at a time might see a little boy on a winged worm and think, oh, I've gone insane. Valac is also proficient at finding another thing, which to most people might be a little less precious. He is a serpent dowser, able to locate, reveal, and render harmless all varieties of snakes. So if you've got some stuff in common with Indiana Jones, it could be nice. Valac doesn't just nerf the snakes though, he can also control the slithering creatures. And if you've ever played D&D with a low to mid-level druid, you'll know just how useful a handful of poisonous serpents can be. Treasure, snakes, riding upon untraditional steeds. Maybe this angel turned demon did preside over Indiana Jones. Coming in at number 3, we've got Xaphan. Here we go, a true fallen angel. The entities we mentioned before are implied to have been angels at some point, corrupted and brought down to demonhood, but this guy right here has verifiably washed his hands of heaven. When Satan took up arms against God and his supporters, Xaphan was right there, ready to lend a hand to the eventual devil. Most demons are probably associated with some sort of fire though, right? Like, they live in hell after all. They're constantly talking about casting people in a lake of fire, but Xaphan, he is a true fire lover, an emberhead, an inferno enthusiast, a flame freak. Get this, before he and the other angels were cast out of heaven, he came up with the bright idea to set fire to everything up there. That's right, he was the original arsonist, burning the heavens where he was created to get revenge upon those who would smite him and his fallen friends. So it only makes sense that he would now be a very fiery fiend. In the abyss, he's in charge of constantly stoking the flames, whether by blowing on them with his mouth, fanning them with his hands, or using the emblem most associated with him, his bellows. The furnace would not produce flames as hot without the help of this burning brute. Some just want to watch the world burn. Coming in at number 2, we've got Mastema. It's ambiguous as to whether Mastema is a fallen angel or simply an angel full of wrath. Either way, he's terrifying. Regardless of the outcome, Mastema did indeed begin his career in heaven. For quite some time, he was known for persecuting evil in the name of God. This wasn't done with kindness and light though, it was done through divine punishment, torture, violence, and fear. His name can mean hatred, hostility, enmity, and persecution, so you figure it out. While in heaven, it seems that he was a watcher. However, it's hard to say whether he joined the watchers that indulged in the earthly pleasures that brought about the Nephilim. Some texts refer to him as the father of all evil though, so there's always the possibility that he decided to switch sides. In fact, Mastema was a well-documented flatterer of God, and, well, if someone's too close to true power and always flattering, they often have ulterior motives. This bit is further confused when the Watchers are being cleansed from the earth by an incredible flood, and Mastema implores God to let him keep and control 1/10 of the remaining demons in order to test humans and weed out the corrupted. So even if he remained an angel of sorts, he also controls a horde of demons and does demonic things, from seducing folks away from goodness and light to carrying out heinous punishments. And finally, at number 1, we've got Lucifer. Now how could I go 2 whole lists about angels becoming demons and not mention the most legendary of fallen angels? Lucifer Morningstar. There is all sorts of contention as to whether Lucifer is also Satan and also the devil, or if he's one and not the other, and what each title means specifically, but putting all that aside, let's take a quick look at the story most folks are familiar with. Lucifer was once a beautiful and infallible angel, nearly perfect in all ways. Being so powerful and excellent, Lucifer started to lust after the place of God. His pride became his downfall, as is the case in many tales, and Lucifer was corrupted with sin. In holding himself too highly in his mind, he attempted to take the place of God, and in doing so, started a war in heaven. This, as we all know by now, did not go well for Lucifer. He and all of the angels that supported him were defeated, and God didn't have to lift a finger. What can you do, right? Lucifer was cast out of heaven and given a new name, Satan, or adversary. It's fitting. So if you're ever feeling really good about yourself, check yourself. Otherwise, you might find yourself in a position in which you might wreck yourself. Hero to villain, rags to riches, gallant to goofus. These beings have been around since the origin of storytelling in one form or another, so it's safe to say we can't avoid such a fate. But you can be careful. So, what'd you think of the list? Do you agree with my picks? What's the greatest angel to demon story going? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more notorious ones from the top 5 scary angels in horror movies. Nate Dogg says the Prophecy films were some of the best religious horror films ever. You'd think we'd have more by now. How long until a reboot? Samuel Miasa says the ice cream guy kinda reminds me of SCP-096, just without the super healing factor and crazy jump feat of strength. Definitely plenty of similarities, but let's try not to will any of that to existence, okay? MadAg420 says, I love Legion. The little old lady done all her own stunts. Go Granny, go Granny. Damn, she's nimble for her age, eh? That's why you should be stretching daily. Mark Stone says, how about top 5 scariest facts about each host? Unfortunately, that would not abide by YouTube's terms of service and would likely result in our channel being shut down permanently. And John Portel says, no shout out to Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in Dogma? Well, I mean, we have talked about that one before, although I'm not so sure I'd call it horror. And that is all the time we have for today. I'm going to run full tilt and toss myself onto a dry slip and slide. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. The furnace would not burn as hot without the help of this, I said burn twice in the sentence. No shout out to Matt Damon and Bat Affleck.